Hi, I'm Darien.
And I'm Davis. You're about to listen to the first episode of Podcast of Poseidon, the show that eventually became Muses of Mythology.
We've grown and changed a lot over the last 2 years, and it's all thanks to listeners like you.
We're an independent podcast, and our early episodes definitely sound like it. But we're proud of where we came from and what we've learned.
If these old mics are too rough, we invite you to jump ahead to our Season 1 finale, Is Poseidon a Good Dad? That's where we both start using quality mics.
Otherwise, we're honored to have you on this journey as we started to explore how ancient myths became modern pop culture.
Thanks for listening. And until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
I'm pretty sure if you were a Percy Jackson kid, you are now a Lore Olympus adult. Like, that's a fact. You are spending those coins every month. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Podcast of Poseidon, a podcast for mortals, monsters, and myth lovers alike. I'm your co-host on loan from the Hunters of Artemis, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, hailing from Cabin 15, DJ.
That's me. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing wonderful. Cabin 15 is Hypno, so I'm pretty fucking tired right now.
This is what we're calling Chapter 0, and we're basically just gonna lay out some groundwork for what you wonderful listeners can expect. First and foremost, as DJ has already pointed out, this is going to be an explicit podcast. So we're going to curse. We're probably going to... Mostly it's going to be us talking about Greek mythology for a big chunk of this.
Greek curses.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and Greek curses. And so a lot of that stuff can be pretty not safe for work when it's not in the nice sheen of the Percy Jackson series. More importantly, I do want to be able to call Zeus a fuckboy whenever I feel like it.
They don't portray him like that in the books, but...
That's what this show is going to be about. We're going to be reading the series and just kind of exploring those myths and like how we change them, which is basically like my goal for it. I really want to talk about the myths and the stories from ancient times and how we retell them, and not just how or why, but kind of supporting the fact that I believe not just telling the myths, but retelling them in new ways is important for us to do, because it's how we show we change and evolve as cultures and storytellers. DJ, why do you want to do this podcast?
Because, I mean, honestly, just because I wanted to hang out with you, and I miss my sister, and this is going to be a lot of fun.
Aw, fuck you. How dare you have a nicer answer than I did?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty good answer.
Let's talk about why Percy Jackson. We could just talk about Greek myths in general, but we're going to talk about a children's book series.
Young adult. Okay.
I mean, Percy starts out as 12, but he ends up in 16, and then there's all the other books, so sure, young adult. I think it depends on what books.
Young adult.
I don't know, it is in the children's section in Barnes & Nobles.
It's because young adults...
No, they have a young adult section at Barnes & Nobles.
That's ridiculous. They need to change that. Because, I mean, yeah, I read them as a child. I guess there's no...
No, I mean, but here's the thing. I was definitely still reading these books when I was in college and they were coming out.
Oh, yeah. Like, they're great.
They're great, yeah.
So much. I think his Trials of Apollo is probably his weakest series. But then again, I never read past the first book.
Okay, well, you can't judge it. It's like judging the Percy Jackson series based on the first book, which I have not read since Blood of Olympus came out in 2014. So I don't remember a lot about the book, so I'm really excited to read it again with you.
Yeah.
When's the last time you read these?
Oof, probably 4th grade, which would be... How old are you in 4th grade? Is that 10? 11?
Yeah. Percy's in 6th grade, and he's 12 in the first book, right? No. What?
No, because... I think so, actually, yeah. He just turned 6th grade, so I was probably 10. I was 10 my first time reading Lightning Thief, and I never went back to it. I read it, and then I moved on to Sea of Thieves, and that was it.
Sea of Monsters.
Yeah, Sea of Monsters. Sea of Thieves is a wonderful pirate game.
Yeah, so this is another thing where we have very, very different reading habits, because I 100% not only just read this series again and again, but I would read them again and again whenever the next book was about to come out.
Yeah. And then she would just hand it off to me and I would read it at
basically.
School. Only reason I missed school is because I got so
much reading done. I'm honestly a little concerned that it's going to take me a long time. I used to be able to read books in 2 hours.
Yeah, you would
Look, I've got stories specifically about reading Battle of the Labyrinth that I will wait until we get to that to share, because it is a highlight of what a nonsensical book kid I was. But now...
Battle of the Labyrinth is such a good book, though.
Fuck, that's a good book.
That one's That's like for me, it's tied for first place because I really like Sea of Monsters.
Sea of Monsters,
I think Sea of Monsters is stellar.
I liked Titan's Curse a lot. I think that one might be my favorite of the 5 because I like Artemis, obviously, especially when I was a kid.
That's
And
fair,
so she has a very prominent role in that book. But we will talk all about Artemis and Fuckboy Zeus and the Labyrinth and the Minotaur and just everything. And not just the way they appear in the Percy Jackson books or in the ancient Greek stories, but also all the all the other ways we've retold these stories and remixed them. And will we talk about Lore Olympus? Like, probably, right? Most likely. I think.
Most likely, because we're both reading that. And
it's pretty great. No, it's absolutely stellar. Davis, is there anything else that you want the listeners to know?
No, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to go back through them and read them. Well, I'm going to be listening to them because I cannot sit down and read anything for the life of me.
Yeah, the two of us are probably more of a demigod.
Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm gonna have a good
it'll be super fun. You'll have to tell me how the reading on the audiobooks are like. So I think that'll actually be super awesome because I don't really do audiobooks that often, but they are.
Which is shocking because you do podcasts.
Yes, I do.
Business.
I love my podcast. I'm so excited to do a podcast. I'm so excited to do a podcast with you. We're just going to have a lot of fun and talk about Percy Jackson and myths, which Greek myths were my very first nerdy love when I was little. I was like, oh, these stories are rad as hell.
I know, right? Like, it's one of the reasons why I absolutely got into Smite and love Smite.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk so much about Smite in this series.
Smite's so much fun. But yeah, it's because I was reading Percy Jackson, and I was still reading it by the time Smite came around, and I'm like, I need to play this. And then I haven't stopped playing it for 7 years.
Perfect. Wonderful, wonderful. That's probably going to do it for Chapter 0. Thank you so much, everybody who is spending your time on our show. We're just getting started. We're so very excited. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for joining us. We hope you like what you hear and want to stick around for the next episode.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Podcast of Poseidon is created, produced, and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain. Our cover art is by Audrey Miller. Find them on Instagram at Bombshell Nutshell.
Come hang out with us on Instagram and Twitter at Podcast of Poseidon. Find all of our episodes and episodes transcripts at podcastofposeidon.com.
Thanks for listening.